Time is ticking when to send your mail-in ballot to ensure it's counted in the presidential election.
Changing the rules, why you may no longer have to quarantine if you're considered a close contact of someone with COVID.
Plus, the Fargo Dome prepares for a nearly empty stadium, which businesses are still choosing to host watch parties this Saturday. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with Fargo police asking for help finding a missing senior citizen. We want to show you a photo of him. 80-year-old Robert McKinnon is 5 feet 7 inches tall. He has gray hair and glasses. He was last seen around 5:30 tonight in the 4500 block of 36th Avenue South in Fargo. He was wearing a black baseball hat and a black and white plaid shirt.
Now, Robert has mobility issues and may not recognize his surroundings. He has no access to a vehicle. If you come in contact with Robert, go ahead and call dispatch 451-7660.
Our weather team is calling tomorrow a First Alert Weather Day, so let's head straight to Hutch for a look at what we're in store for. Hutch?
Thank you so much. We do have some cold air making its way into the region. Right now in Fargo, things are quiet. Tomorrow morning, a First Alert Weather Day. Here is a look at what we are seeing temperature-wise already. Sliding away are those temperatures. Bemidji 35, 36 in Devil's Lake as the chill is settling in there, holding on to the 40s in Grand Forks, Fargo, and Point South and West. 35 already for Babe the Blue Ox. Clear skies, calm winds. That means a freeze likely across Minnesota and frost likely here in the valley and eastern portions of North Dakota. Your planning forecast shows temperatures slipping into the low 30s overnight. I'll have details on this, and we'll talk about some warmer weather and why I have not tuned up the snowblower just yet in a few minutes.
Well, that's good. Thanks.
With the presidential election quickly approaching, many are questioning mail-in voting. Valley News Team's Devin Fry spoke with local officials today on how they're working to make sure mail-in votes get counted.
It's an election year unlike any other. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there's a heavy push for voting by mail this year. However, many are worried about ensuring their vote counts while not doing it in person.
Don't wait until November 2nd to drop your ballot in the mail. Send it in, a week earlier.
Each state has individual deadlines for when you need to have your ballot returned. North Dakota ballots must be postmarked by at least November 2nd, while Minnesota ballots must be postmarked by November 3rd. Voters in North Dakota will have a bit of a grace period. Ballots received 6 days after the election will still be counted as long as they're postmarked by that November 2nd deadline.
Any absentee ballots that were dropped in the mail the day before or earlier can still be counted if they are received in the county auditor's office before the canvassing board meets.
Another interesting note is that in both North Dakota and Minnesota, voters are able to request a ballot right up until Election Day. The United States Postal Service recommends sending in ballots a week before the election to account for mailing delays. Election officials in North Dakota are confident the ballots will get in on time.
Be safe and don't wait till the 2nd, even though the law allows that. Send it in, days before that so that it's going to get to that office by that 6th day after.
The push for mail-in voting is strong in many counties in North Dakota. In Grand Forks County, they're only going to be opening one polling place in Grand Forks itself, which they're legally required to have open. That means cities like Thompson, Larimore, and Northwood won't have any polling places open for in-person voting on Election Day. If anyone living there wants to vote in person, they're going to have to make the drive to the Alara Center.
We are going to do that, but in addition to that, we also have early voting. And so there's 8 days of in-person voting here at the Alara Center.
Reporting from Grand Forks County, Devin Fry, Valley News Live.
For more information on mail-in voting, visit valleynewslive.com and click on this story.
You no longer have to quarantine for 14 days if you come in close contact with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19 in North Dakota. That's if you were both wearing a mask at the time. Valley News Team Stacey Van Dyke joins us live to break down the change. Stacey?
That's right, Mike. The governor says if you were wearing a mask, you may be okay to go about your life. But if the person who tested positive was not, you're out of luck. Here's the graphic from the Department of Health that they released today. Note that if everyone here is wearing a mask and those close contacts, now remember that's someone less than 6 feet apart from the infected person for 15 minutes or more, they're now simply asked to monitor their own symptoms rather than quarantine for 2 weeks. However, if you or the person there with coronavirus was not wearing a mask, you are still asked to quarantine. Now, the governor says this move offers an incentive to get parents and their kids to mask up.
My confidence level goes up. It goes up because now there's an incentive. If now when you get a call and you've been named a close contact and they say, were you wearing a mask? Yep. Was every around you wearing a mask? Yep. Okay, well then you're not going to have to, sit on the sidelines for 14 days.
Now, some people on social media are calling out the governor for changing the rules again. He says we're learning more about the virus every day, and recently the evidence strongly suggests that wearing a mask does lower the spread of infection. Mike?
All right, thank you. And to read the full news release from the Joint Information Center, click this story on our website on valleynewslive.com. We want to run down the latest COVID-19 numbers in the area for this day. North Dakota is reporting 373 new cases, along with 9 new deaths. Now, overall, 256 people have died in the state. The positivity rate is at 6.37%. In Minnesota, the state is reporting 1,066 new cases. That's along with 13 new deaths. 2,049 people have died in Minnesota.
As a COVID-19 precaution, most students are without lockers and are carrying their backpacks and instruments from class to class, which has some parents saying the extra weight is forcing their kids to make trips to the chiropractor. In Fargo schools, they discourage the use of lockers. However, students will be able to use their lockers to store winter gear. In West Fargo, they are in the process of determining if there is a need for a partial or full locker, adding that secondary schools will soon provide guidelines for storing winter gear. Both districts say while students are not to congregate inside after school, no child will be forced outside once temperatures become dangerous. Despite growing numbers of COVID-19, an area school has lowered its risk level and is going to predominantly in-person education. In a news release, Central Cass Schools says the decision was made in part because the number of cases within the district remains low. The district's superintendent says the number of student and staff absences could rise over the next couple of weeks. They're looking for ways to keep Central Cass schools at the green risk level for as long as possible. For a breakdown on how the district will proceed, you can go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story.
As the NDSU Bison get ready to play their only football game this weekend, it'll be played in a nearly empty Fargo Dome. Valley News Team's Courtney Lockey tells us how other businesses are making the decision whether to host watch parties.
There's a lot of big Bison fans, but I don't think there's anybody bigger than me.
I truly am a fanatic, as you can see from the mask and keychain and everything else under this.
For these Bison fans and the 8,000 others who bought tickets for this Saturday's game, they'll have to find a new place to watch. And it's proving to be more difficult than they'd hoped.
Angry and sad and wishing it was one of my kids playing so I could be a family.
As NDSU announces that only select family members will be allowed in the stands, the Lights in West Fargo is canceling its tailgating event.
Too many signs were telling me that it wasn't going to happen for many people.
Meanwhile, Fargo Dome staff is prepping for the few who will be inside. Fans will sit along the 50-yard line, socially distanced with masks. And the sidelines box where players and coaches stand will be extended. We're told coaches, players, and staff have all been tested for Saturday's game. We reached out to NDSU for those results, but haven't heard back.
It'll be the first home game I've missed in a long time, I'm still going to watch it on TV, but I'd much rather be there.
Some fans planning to throw the towel in and stay home, despite a few options in town. The Red River Valley Fairgrounds going through with its tailgate, and several bars in town still plan to host watch parties. However, when we asked them about a safety plan going into Saturday, they declined to comment. In Fargo, Courtney Lockey, Valley News Live.
A reminder, you can still watch the game on Saturday here on KVLY. We'll start our pregame show at 1 p.m., taking you right up to kickoff at 2:30.
North Dakota Attorney General Wayne Stengham is advising residents to hang up if they receive a call from Medicare. The calls are the latest variation of a phishing scam. The scammer claims Medicare is replacing paper cards with plastic cards that have a chip or magnetic strip, and say they need the consumer to verify their Medicare number. Now, once the scammer has the person's name and Medicare number, they can use that information to file fraudulent claims.
We have breaking news into our newsroom now. Hope Hicks, one of the President Donald Trump's top aides, has tested positive for COVID-19. Hicks was in close proximity with the president this week at rallies. She is the closest aide to the president to test positive so far. Now, the president and are awaiting results. They have said that they will begin the quarantine process. He not only confirmed the news, but added that he and the First Lady have been tested with the results pending.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, a North Dakota couple is making the most of their time together as one of them battles Alzheimer's.
And in weather, we're tracking some clouds, but some very cold air in store. I'll tell you how low we go, and we'll talk about a warming trend right after this.